Hello everyone and welcome to our Sparx Global webinar presentation. Sparx Global encompasses Sparx companies around the world that facilitate services, support, localization, training, mentoring, and more around Sparx Systems tooling. This includes Enterprise Architect, and just as a reminder, Enterprise Architect 15.1 has been released and is available for download from the Sparx Systems website. If the content today or of any of the Sparx Global series piques your interest, then please reach out to Sparx Services in your region and they'll be more than happy to help. And you can find their contact details on sparxsystems.com/partners Sparx Services. And there's also some information and we're always happy to hear from people that want more information about Prolaborate. So please feel free to reach out and contact us. So our webinar today is 4 ways to communicate with business stakeholders using Sparx Systems Prolaborate. So my name's Scott Hebbard. I am the Communications Manager here at Sparx Systems, and I'm the host of the Sparx Global webinar series. And from time to time, I do webinars and presentations on Enterprise Architect, on Prolaborate, and the Pro Cloud Server. I have over 2 decades of experience in ICT. I do a number of product demonstrations and marketing and love using Enterprise Architect. I'm joined tonight by Madhav. So Madhav has 9 years of experience in the software industry, and Madhav is an MBA graduate from one of the premier institutions in India with a background in information technology. Madhav is currently working as a senior product manager, Sparx Systems Prolaborate, and is responsible for managing the product management and business development efforts for Prolaborate. So very pleased to have you join us tonight, Madhav. The agenda for today. So we're going to look at how to communicate and share Enterprise Architect models. We're going to look at how to encourage collaboration with business stakeholders. Madhav's going to conduct a Prolaborate demonstration, and then we're going to seek questions from the audience at the end. And just to preempt some questions, this presentation will be recorded and will be made available both on the Sparx Systems website and on the Sparx Systems YouTube site so that you can re-watch it if you happen to miss anything. So as far as questions are concerned, please note that audio is muted for all participants. You will be able to type questions to the host, and if we can't answer all your questions live, we'll follow up offline. So I'll send some messages through to Madhav and the team at Prolaborate, and we can get those answered for you, especially if you want a demonstration or you want more information, we'd be happy to help. In order to complete questions, all you need to do is simply type the questions in the text box, hit enter on the numeric keypad or hit send, and it'll come through to us, and we'd be happy to respond. But right now, I'd like to hand over to Madhav, who's going to present on 4 ways to communicate with business stakeholders using Sparx Systems Prolaborate. So welcome, Madhav, and looking forward to this presentation, learning more about Prolaborate and how it can help people.
Thanks a lot, Scott. Hello, everyone. Before we get started, before we talk about the 4 ways, before we talk about the agenda, let's have a quick look at, what's the need? Why do we have to really communicate, and what does it really give us? So obviously, a good communication strategy is definitely needed to align business on the one side and the IT leaders on the other side usually. So to keep them, to engage them, to bring them on the same page, it's needed. And obviously, their transparent communications are needed so that everybody can interact and make better decisions faster. Individual teams in an organization cannot take decisions that can be taken to a long term, right? And again, a good strategy is needed for an organization to be agile and proactive in dealing with not just risk but also with opportunities. And it really makes it easier for everybody everybody in the sense that there can be teams which would be involved from top to bottom. It would make it easier for everybody to be part of the larger vision or the goal the organization is planning to achieve. So obviously, uh, so that's why we need a good communication strategy. We can also see stakeholder management in terms of enterprise architecture, and what's the context, what's the scope, what are we where are we looking at whoever is going to use these 4 ways. So I mean, to state the obvious, so these are all Sparx CA users. You would be Sparx CA users, and you can be using any of these. I mean, it's a globally renowned tool. You can use it for enterprise architecture, business process management, business capabilities analysis, requirements management, model-based system engineering. It can be anything, but but you would have felt the need to involve the business users and the higher management more, right? So that's the context which we are going to look at. And okay, so why do we why have you thought, or what could be the reason you would have thought there's a need to involve them more, and you would have thought of like better sharing methods? Because let's say you have enterprise architect a wide usage, and you are, how do you share? So it would be mostly from what we have heard, like in the few hundreds of demos, it's Microsoft Offices, or the Word documents, the PowerPoints are being used, and what's the problem with that? So basically you share and reshare, and it keeps on going. And I mean, let's say a document is shared over an email and it's being talked about. Meanwhile, the model is getting changed or some changes are being done. It's not much use because documents don't have live information, right? It's static. So these are all the primary gaps which we are going to see how Sparx Prolaborate is addressing. And so we are going to see the 4 ways. These are the 4 ways. We'll be looking at detail in them, and what are we specifically going to see about each. So first, what it enables you to do, and what it has enabled an organization to do already. And moving on, how does user experience in here? What we are talking is, how does a business user or someone from the management or some other non-EA users, how does their experience look like? And last but not the least, okay, the experience looks good. The obvious next question is, what are the efforts needed by me as an architect or as a collaborator, I mean, to enable that experience? So we'll be looking all these in detail for all these 4 methods. Okay, before we start with the first sharing method, the instance share, I mean, you can use all these sharing methods as different use cases, which we'll be going to see. But let's say we map them on a typical customer journey, or map them on a customer journey of Prolaborate, how it all starts. Okay, so going back to the context, so I am a huge Sparx EA fan. We have been using it for extensively across the organization, but we have concerns engaging users. We have concerns with the manual efforts that are needed. So how do we really get started? So obviously it's with the simple links. Hey, I have been sharing information through like copy paste. Let's say here is the link, and what does it give me? A business user, as click on it, you'll always see live information. So it starts with as simple as sharing shortened links. And how it moves on, okay, let's say Prolaborate's awareness is increasing, and there is an extensive usage of like knowledge management portals like SharePoint or Confluence. Okay, hey, how about bringing information from models to these portals? Okay, so that's like a slightly increased usage of exposing what's there. Third step is quite a mixed experience, I would say. So it's not just about taking information exactly as it is in presenting. I mean, it's a good thing. You don't, all the manual efforts will not be there, but the second part of it is presenting. So it's not just about taking them to the information, right? It's like making relevant information, in presenting it in front of them. And ultimately, last but not the least, this would be the stage which everybody envisions, enabling collaborations with all the business stakeholders. So it's a best stage where everybody is on the same page, everybody gives their inputs. It leads to an agile modeling efforts. And let's start with the first sharing method, instance share. As I said, the goal is pretty straightforward. I want to make live information available to anyone in my organization in a very simple method. And okay, before we look at how it's done, what's the user experience like, let's take a customer case study as said. So this is a huge organization based out of Europe, one of the huge organization in the industry is operating in. What was their goal? So encourage adoption of EA, and what was hindering them? So they were, as said, Word documents, PowerPoints, all the possible static documentation methods were used. And what's the problem? It's not really inefficient. I mean, it's like I have to spend some time on a daily basis sharing documents with different users and different teams. And what Sparx Prolaborate did to them, as we told, just get the link, share it. No more sharing and resharing. It's just share one time. And what it enabled is significant increase in productivity, obviously, because all the work that's needed to generate, regenerate, copy paste is all gone. I just share link once, and next time when something is updated, it's just a small message, hey, the diagram is updated, please visit the link again. So they are on the path to achieve their goal. There is increased adoption because there is no much unproductive work on the architect side, and even from the consumer business side, they are it's as simple as just clicking on a link. So obviously all that's expected from them is browser and an intranet connection. Obviously both would be there at any point in time. So it's the adoption has seen a rise compared to before they were using Prolaborate. And coming to the user experience, as I said earlier, the business user experience, what do they really do? Uh, Let me show it in a video. So there are two ways how we can get the links. The experience is the same. How do we get the links? How does a architect or a modeler go about to a model and get the link of something? There are two ways. First is through EA itself, and second is through Prolaborate. Let's see both of them. So we have built a specific add-in, Prolaborate add-in for enterprise architect. Let's say I'm done with the diagram, and I copy the link using the add-in, and I paste it, and I open it in a browser. You can see the diagram shown here is live, and the users can click through the objects even to see a customized view of the information. So I just changed the diagram, I fetch the link, single click, you don't have to do anything, and I share it, let's say, again, and now you can see I'm looking at various other information in a customized way. It's not all the properties, I have customized to show specific properties and tag values only. So that's through EA. So the functionality is similar through Prolaborate as well. So this is Prolaborate. I am opening a diagram using a similar repository browser here. I click on share. I open an incognito window. I mean, basically, there is no user sessions needed. Nobody has to log in or authenticate. And in a similar way, the same diagram here. So this is the Prolaborate experience, and we are fetching links in a similar way. So I mean, it doesn't matter which app you're using, the links are nearby to you. Okay, so the links are pretty easier to get if you think. And what was really done to enable the links? On top of the initial installation and configuration, absolutely nothing. So you are able to see the repository browser on a, on Chrome exactly as it is, and there is absolutely nothing that's needed. I just configure it for the one time initially, and I'm good to get started with sharing links. So this is the reason why it's so why it's in the first stage, as we told in the customer journey. Absolutely nothing, no setup, no configuration, just the initial installation by, let's say, an IT team, and the architects, modelers, and everybody's good to get started with it. And so we'll be looking at some frequently asked questions as well, and from our customers, partners, and prospects. So obviously, once we say, "Hey, here's the link," and you go back and change, you will have a question, right? Does that link stay the same? The answer is yes. I mean, it's not just the change. It does. You can even move it within the model anywhere. The link stays the same all the time. You don't have to reshare the link any point in time. And how old is the information shown? So I have been seeing live and live again and again. So it's real, it's live sync. Any change in EA at this moment, the next moment it will reflect in Prolaborate. And obviously the next question would be, okay, so you are saying it's all synced live. How does it really happen? It's again through a product by Sparx Systems called Pro Cloud Server. So any communication from your EA models to Prolaborate happens only through Pro Cloud Server. And as I said, anybody can share the links. The immediate next question is, hey, okay, we might not really want to share something that can be accessed, even though we have Prolaborate on our premises. No problem. You could have seen that there is a private share along with the public shareable link. So if you're concerned with the security or confidentiality, you just copy the private link, share it with anyone. Anybody likes to access it, they'll be prompted for credentials. They will be validated before they could see any information that's available through that link. Okay, before we start, are there any questions?
So,
HTML.
thanks,
Okay,
Matt.
the question.
Just one quick question. Yeah. So you talk about links, but can you perhaps explain why this is much better than just sending links through an email client? And why is it better to, produce a link through Prolaborate?
You mean the alternative to the HTML, offline HTML links?
Yes.
Okay, okay, that's a good question. We have a specific case study on that. I guess it's coming after this, which will definitely answer the question raised for this.
No problems. And when you talk about live data, I think it's worth just pointing out that if you make an update to a diagram as an enterprise architect, if you make the update at 9:01, then at 9:01 and 10 seconds, when someone looks at that link, they see the absolute most up-to-date information, which is certainly far better than printing out a Word document. And the minute you hit print, that document instantly becomes out of date. So it allows your customers and your business stakeholders to see things in real time as changes are made.
Exactly.
Okay, I'll hand back and let you continue on.
Sure. Thanks, Scott. Okay, next is the most hot topic of Prolaborate, I would say. And as we saw in the customer journey, once people are comfortable with the links, the next is taking the links or the diagrams or the information to a wider audience in a simpler way. So obviously, we cannot like keep sharing it through emails and other communication mediums. A proper knowledge management system will definitely help. So people start searching like, how do we really directly publish diagrams so that it can be easily consumed in Confluence or in SharePoint. So that's what we are going to see next. And our goal is pretty straightforward. Again, we are an extensive user of Confluence. Please make information available to them, to us. And this case study will definitely talks about their goal. So this is an Fortune Global 500, a huge company based out of Australia, an extensive user of Confluence that's used across the organization, and they use obviously Sparx CA for their modeling efforts. And so Confluence on one side is used by everyone, Sparx CA on another side, which all the architecting teams, modeling teams love. And how do we bridge the gap? How do we make the information available from there to Confluence? So that was their exact question. So I guess everybody who is an user of Architect and Confluence can relate to this slide, and maybe wish to have a keyword like that. So it's just copy paste, and even if it's some information, let's say a description or a document is embedded already, I guess you have to copy paste it again. So that's how it has been. And how it all changes, it's just Confluence now. I mean, you could have seen there's no even Prolaborate, so no Prolaborate even in the foreground. We'll shortly look how this really works. So they just share information from the models again only once, and it always shows within Confluence all the time. And what are the benefits? So the benefits, the obvious benefits: no rework. Some few good things happened which we even didn't expect. So now it has enabled the Confluence macro, Prolaborate macro for Confluence has enabled any business users to view and publish. Say they want to view a business process, they want to see the application portfolio, all they do is just few clicks, search, done. So it's and most importantly, why it's just few clicks and they're not in an uncomfortable zone. They're not in a new app trying to find something. It's the app which they have been using on a daily basis, and they just have to do a few clicks which look very obvious and intuitive. We'll be looking at the experience in a few slides. And okay, what all the business users, the non-users can do. So they can view live diagrams, drill down on composite diagrams, browse repositories, packages, objects, requirements, and even view and interact with charts and visualizations that are created in Prolaborate. Again, there are two ways how we can bring information from Prolaborate to Confluence. One is through the macro, and the next is through the Prolaborate links. We'll look at both. So the first is the macro. So I just click on add, I click on the Prolaborate macro. I can see all the repositories which I have configured, and all I do is just remember a word. Okay, I remember it has the keyword application in it. So I searched for it. The diagrams are available here, and you can note, so this is an application portfolio diagram, and all the applications on the diagram, I can easily see it. And importantly, you can also see all the important information, the properties, stacked values, the business unit, IT unit of these applications available in Confluence itself. And all I did was, maybe I can show it again. Come here, search for Prolaborate, search, choose the repository, type a keyword, click find, click the diagram, and I'm able to do it. So as simple as that, and most importantly, it's all live information. So this is one part of it. As I said, the macro pretty straightforward. Let's also have a quick look at how we can bring visualization. So it's not moving on from just consuming the modeling information. Let's move on to see how we can bring the charts and visualizations, the presentation views from Prolaborate to here. So I just copied a link from Prolaborate, and I'm here, and you can see the landscape views, the three-dimensional bubble chart showing value benefit analysis, application rationalization maps, the business capability tree map, which you can click in. This is the nested pie. We can clearly see how end-to-end connections are made and how certain business capabilities are connected to each other. So just a note here. So all this is purely based on whatever you have modeled in EA. So to be straightforward, just two things. One are the connectors, another are the properties. So the multi-level charts, when you drilled into business capabilities or the connections from one level to another level, all these are properties. To state an example, the roadmap was just based on dates. Moving on to have a quick look at SharePoint as well, as we have been majorly talking about Confluence. Let's say I want to share a package of requirements with my users in SharePoint. How do I do that? So as of now, there is no macro for SharePoint, but the Prolaborate link method still applies. I just got a link, pasted here, published it. I share the exact same Prolaborate experience with my SharePoint users. And you can see they can really read through the requirements, and they can even understand the customized properties and even link documents. I want to read more about the document that's coming along with the requirements, no problem, I can even do that. So any information from your EA models and any information, any visualization based on the data and information in your data can be taken to these portals easily. Okay, by easily, okay, that's the slide we are here. So okay, what do I really need to do to bring information here? So for both either the macro or the links, it's just one-time configuration for the macro, few steps, and for the links again a few clicks here and there, and that's all you need to do before you can share. So that's again on top of the installation and configuration, but still very intuitive. So coming to the frequently asked questions, so where can you get the macro? From the Atlassian marketplace, you can just Google for it and get it. And is it compatible with both server and cloud? Yes. And how many users can use it? How many users can use it to view information? So as of now, as long as you have the right capability, right edition, there is absolutely no limitations on how many users can use it. So this is the HTML generation piece, which raised by one of our attendees. Okay, any questions before we look in detail about this?
Thanks, Madhav. There's a couple of questions from Dean and Wolfgang, and while I think you've answered it visually, they say that you can view model diagrams. So for example, if you create a use case in Enterprise Architect, you can view that via WebEA. So would you be able to explain a little bit of the difference between WebEA, which shows the diagrams within Enterprise Architect, and what Prolaborate can show you, and what Prolaborate can do above and beyond what WebEA can do?
Okay, that's again that's a FAQ, I would say. So many customers and prospects raise it. I mean, on a very high level, the vision is different. WebEA is primarily catered for EA users. Prolaborate is catered to rest of the EA user, the non-EA and business users. So that's the vision and goal of these two apps. I agree, a lot of capabilities can overlap, like sharing or getting the links, but I mean, you could have seen, if you have extensively used or read about WebEM in the presentation views and the capabilities with Confluence, the Confluence macro. So those are all the minor differences. And I mean, it would really take a demo or maybe like 10 to 15 minutes discussions of showcasing the differences, but on a high level, the goal and the vision are different. So if you're thinking about, let's say, hey, we are all engineers, we want to quickly refer information anytime, wherever we want, okay, please use WebEA, we'll be happy with it. Hey, we are using, let's say, EA and WebEA, but we want to present information to the management. They are not they don't really understand EA, or they are not really interested in the views. Okay, no problem, you can use Prolaborate. So it depends on your use cases and the audience and the expectations, and based on that, you can choose which ones can be used. And as I said, let me repeat, so they definitely share quite a bit of use cases.
Thank you. And I think that's helped illustrate that there's different target audiences, different uses, and of course, Prolaborate has access to a range of macros and the ability to create charts that are more suited for that business audience. So thank you. All right,
Thank you,
I'll
Scott.
leave you to go on to the next section. Thanks, Madhav.
Thank you, Scott. Okay, so this is a very interesting case study with respect to HTML generation. And okay, so here the objective is I want to share parts of models with different teams or different customers, and it should be like self-service portal. They should be able to just click through a link, understand what's happening, and be done with it. As simple as that. And it shouldn't be okay. How it's different from instant share? So that's just one diagram or two diagrams you are sharing through different links. Here it's totally different. We'll be looking at it shortly. And this is again organization based out of Europe, a huge company, and their goal was to effectively share their humongous model. They have like a few 10,000s of diagram, I guess 50, more than 50, 60,000 diagrams, and they wanted to share it with different customers. And how they were doing it, the HTML publishes was the way. And you can imagine, I guess, if you have tried it, if you are going to share like 10 or 50,000 diagrams to, let's say, a few tens of customers, it would really take, even with the automation, so many hours of work and even the wait time. So that's the problem. A customer wants something, hey, please wait for 1 to 2 business days, we'll get it to you. So that's the kind of problem they were facing. And with Prolaborate, they share specific parts of the model just using custom links. Most important to note. So I can create, let's say, Scott or Prolaborate or WebA or Madhav. So any custom links, even the customer names, and I can share it. Hey, this is your link. Please, anytime you visit it, you will always see whatever you want to see. And so these again, on top of the obvious benefits, the customers are happy. They don't have to always go to their vendor who is our customer to say, hey, please share this information, again share that information. No, I just have a link. Always the live information is available. There's no need to train someone on these portals or EA. It's just a link. You can add information which will be seeing, and obviously hundreds of hours of manual work saved per year. And what does the customers or the teams really experience? So specific parts of the model, as I said, the dashboards importantly, and my diagrams view. So this is an interesting feature, and let's look how it works. So first, let's have a look at, let's say, EA users experience, so that we can compare how it's getting changed. So here I'm clicking on a business goal. I'm looking at all the properties. I double clicked on it. I'm going into another diagram. And basically you can see on the repository browser, please note there is enterprise architecture model and there is solution architecture model, a demo model with a lot of information like goals, capabilities, processes, applications, requirements, designs. And this is my, let's say, this is my huge model, which I want to take it to a larger audience. And we'll look at only one team for now. So let's say I want to share it with the enterprise architecture team only. And you can see the 3 points which we just saw. Repository browsers, only specific part. Okay, we are into enterprise architecture, we don't deal with requirements, or it's not really relevant to us. Okay, no problem, you'll just see the enterprise architecture model. And hey, is there a way to share the most important diagrams like the goals, stakeholders, values, end-to-end view in a simple dashboard to us? Okay, yes, it's done. And we want to have a quick look at, let's say, some frameworks anytime. So these are all information brought in from online diagrams. So even these are all HTML links. So any kind of information with the rich collection of widgets you can bring in. And this is again one of the interesting features raised by many customers. We want to have a quick thumbnail view of all the diagrams. I don't want to browse through the packages to view. Okay, no problem. And again, if you notice, this is not everything. So you'll not see really the requirements, diagrams and stuff. Whatever is shared with me, that's all I'll see here. So you can compare this with basically the HTML published. So this is just configured ones, shared ones. And okay, let's quickly look at the efforts taken by the team and what they really did, pick and choose. Okay, which part I have to share with my customers. Okay, done enterprise architecture model. What do I really need to show? Okay, those are the few diagrams and widgets which we configured and share. The link or the URL you can set as per your requirements. So that's all you do. So you can compare how the experience was. Okay, let me pick this part of the model, generate HTML. Hey, this is for customer A, then do it again, customer B, next week do the same. Every week it has been done. Here the link stays the same, the information are all live, and anytime you want to share something new, anytime you want to remove something that's shared, you don't have to even communicate with the customer. Obviously email communication would be good, but you can do everything within Prolaborate itself. I hope that answers the differences between HTML generation and how we can better use it in Prolaborate. And okay, let's take a quick look at the frequently asked questions. How many users are allowed to access the link? So, okay, this is actually a capability called Open Community Access. If you had seen the Prolaborate site, you could see it, or in plain English, we can say unlimited read-only access. So there's no limitation on how many users can see it. Can they edit? No, it's a read-only access because it's not really identified. So it's a complete read-only access which can be shared with unlimited users. And this is the question which I said I want to remove something, add something. By mistake, I shared something else. Let's say in a manual HTML scenario, you cannot really take it back, but here, no problem. Just delete whatever is shared, reconfigure fine. They'll see whatever you intend them to see. And before we head on to the best sharing way to achieve our goal, let's see if we have any questions.
Thanks, Madhav. There's a question here saying, at my company, we want to link requirements to Confluence so that our test team can write test scripts. But can you see at Confluence, so at the Confluence end, what requirements have changed? So that the test teams now know to change their test scripts too. So when there's a change in the EA model, how can they be notified at the Confluence end?
Again, a good question, a very practical question. So as of now, I mean, I'll have to do a quick check and maybe we'll get the right answers in the webinar page. But I mean, the philosophy behind bringing in information, it's always live. The version information, the change in diagrams are not really notified in a straightforward way. But maybe I'll have a quick check with my team after the webinar, and we'll get you the answers in the webinar page in the Sparx Systems site.
I think that's the important thing, is that your Confluence users are always seeing the most up-to-date information from the model. So whenever they're looking at the information in Confluence, that's what they need to write the test script for. So I think the question almost exposes the kind of methodology of old systems where you had a static model that might be 3 weeks out of date, but that's no longer the case using this approach. Okay, I'll hand over and let you talk about how to share and collaborate. Thanks, Madhav.
Sure. Thanks, Scott. And so, so how do we really achieve anything which we wish for within a huge organization, which is like ready to use a tool like Sparx? Obviously, it's to enable collaboration. So any modeling architecture efforts, if you want to take it to a success, so we'll have to showcase and get feedback and to engage all the right stakeholders. So only then we can take our organization to the future state that is envisioned from the current state. And let's quickly jump on to a case study. So here it's one of the use cases only, and not everything that the best of Prolaborate has to offer. So here it's very specifically targeted at review. So this is again organization from United States, a Fortune 500 company, and they were doing reviews, but it was a huge effort from the architect side, because what they do is they have a template ready, and once they want to get something reviewed, okay, I'll use the template. I'll take a Word document from it, from EA. I'll go to SharePoint, upload it, and invite users, and get their comments. Okay, I discuss with them. It's a Word interface, and I go back to EA with the consolidated comments of stage 1 and make changes, take out a Word document version 2 and do it over and over till I get all the comments and everybody is happy. And so to state the obvious, this is not the right way to do. And with Prolaborate, everybody is on Prolaborate, and we'll shortly see how it has really changed. We'll see a short video on the reviews itself. So basically, to state what really happens now, two users sitting before their laptops, just using Prolaborate, discussing about the changes, making changes to the models, and if everybody is happy, they close the browsers and go. So no SharePoint, no Word documents, no upload, re-uploads, no sharing and resharing. And there are times they have to go to EA. We'll also talk about that. And it's a wide array of capabilities and the best user experience that a user can have. So starting from sign in, so what's the first touch point? I will have to sign in, and what do I do? Do I do that means I have to register me, or do I have to register for myself? No, not at all. Prolaborate can integrate with a wide range of single sign-on providers like Okta, SAML, any SAML based vendors, AD, Azure AD, etc. And once they sign in, and very similar to the earlier experience we saw, they just see what they have to see, what's relevant to them. Information is presented to them through the dashboards. They have their own diagrams view, and so that those are all the similar ones like before. But what's on top of that, feeds, like very similar to social media wall. I go to feeds and see what are all the discussions, what are all the hot topics being discussed within my company in the context of Sparx CA model. So it's not everything, it's very contextual. And in the same way, discussions, you can create a discussion on a package, a diagram, let's say a package of diagrams, of application portfolio diagram, a specific application, any item, any deliverable, any artifact in a very contextually, and send deliverables for review, which will shortly look at how it really works. So this is what was the primary use case for the customer, which we saw, and even make changes, which we again saw from there. And let's so this user wants to get a set of requirements reviewed. He has a specific deadline to convey to his audience, a date for reviews, a date for approval, certain uh, settings like email notifications he has enabled so that they get notified once the reviews is done. He goes to the specific package, chooses the requirements directly, just to rewind. So you can see it's the same model which we just saw using EA, and he's able to just browse through it from Prolaborate and choose anything whichever he wants to get reviewed. And next, now he chooses the users and assigns them roles. So Beth is above Clara. Let's say Clara will be my first level of contact, where she will say, hey, this looks good, you can make some changes. Beth would be the next level of management. They'll have the authority to approve or reject my deliverables, and I create the review. So this is what's exactly happening with the customer we saw. So this elaborate dashboard of the author looks empty because we just created it. And let's log in as the approver. And as soon as the user logs in, you can see there's a notification here, requirement review has been started. Would you like to give your feedback? And she says, okay, let's go. And she goes to the items tab, and she can quickly have a look at all the requirements. She can read about the nodes. She can even understand the criticality, the Moscow, where it is required, any relationship with other requirements. If she has to read more into the link document about what are these requirements, okay, she's happy with what she's seeing, and she decides to approve certain requirements she's happy with. And when looking at this one, she has a concern about criticality, and what she does is uh, raises a discussion. I mean, she did not tag anyone, because whoever is part of the review will automatically get notifications. And a typical contextual discussion scenario out of the reviews, you can tag users. Say, I want to get a feedback from Scott. I'll just click on tag and say Scott and just submit, and he'll immediately get an email saying, hey, Madhav has sent initiated a discussion like this. Would you like to reply back? So here it's Andy, or the review author, is automatically notified of this. He has an in-app as well as an email notification. He can see the counts going up here as well. He likes it because she has pointed out the mistake. You can see, so this is where we talked about the textual changes, the exact same experience, the drop downs, and he updates the information. He goes back here and says, hey, it's done. What do you think about it now? So this is just a simple example, so the changes can go a lot much higher. So this is a typical scenario with respect to the textual changes, but I guess obviously there would be a question, hey, what about diagramming changes? What about relationships? The people are checking out traceability. What about change in connectors and relationships? So for all those core modeling tasks, obviously the architect need to go back to EA, and they can still view the discussions and the links through the add-in which we saw earlier, and they can just do the changes there, come back to Prolaborate through the link from EA itself and reply back. So it's just a few changes in EA, but you'll have end-to-end links from EA to Prolaborate to come back easily, so that the user, whoever is creating the review, don't have to go around searching for links and browsing for a long time. So this is just about reviews, and we saw experience of a user with just using a link in the previous method, but let's explore few other experiences, let's say. And so again, based on the same model, it's a single model. Let's say a lot of teams gain access to it. So this is again under enterprise architecture model. This is an application portfolio management team who wants to gain access just to applications and manage them. So we have created a dashboard with very simple widgets, and again they can see all the diagrams that they have access to, and these charts and visualizations, so they are not just showing live information. You can easily click through to really understand what's happening. Okay, show me all the tactical apps. So I just clicked on it. I'm able to view the information. I can see the customized properties view. So you can see so far in the demo we have been just looking at very simple properties windows. Here it's elaborate because it's an application and we have a lot of information to show. So, okay, we can do a lot more with Prolaborate, but let's quickly switch on. Let's say another business analysis team logs into Prolaborate, just logged in. You can see just logging into different views. Everybody, any user from any teams, they'll just log in with their single credentials. They have the view completely customized for them. So this makes it easier for them to view, and if they have any comments or discussions, they can quickly create one. So how all this, so we talked about so many things that can be achieved through Prolaborate. So how do we really do it? So it's obviously a lot of capabilities opened up, will require some more additional work. So first step would be to integrate with your single sign-on vendor. And the next is to set up groups, so which makes it easier to assign the dashboards and also the permissions. So this is where we decide who can edit, who can just start discussion, who cannot see something, who can see something, and finally the different dashboards. So it's again not much, just few simple steps which enables a user to do everything which we saw earlier. And quickly jumping on to the facts, so editing capability, as I said, it's as simple as just giving the right access permissions, and we spoke about this earlier. So the textual changes can be made, and how to get, so how it works, we did not really go deeper into that. If you really want to understand, we have elaborate documentation in place available in our website for every single capability which we saw so far, so you can have a quick look at that. Some general FAQs before we conclude the webinar. So this is where you can see where does Prolaborate really fit in. So enterprise architect, that's where your models lie, and PCS, the Pro Cloud Server, is what enables the live information, and if you edit information going back to the models live, so that's all enabled by the APIs by Pro Cloud Server. And so far it's just about sharing, and a little bit of collaboration is what we saw. If you have a question, is it just for sharing? No. So as we talked about the vision, it's not just about making information available. You can make your business users visualize, enable them to collaborate. A few capabilities which we didn't see is integration with Jira, Azure DevOps, analysis capabilities like impact analysis, relationship matrices, and there are some more capabilities. As is to repeat, the vision is to cater to the needs of all the business users who want to consume information. So far this has been our path. We are continuing this path to achieve that vision. So this would have been obvious, but there are questions which are still raised. So Prolaborate can never replace EA. So the modeling, all the modeling task has to happen in EA. So Prolaborate, as we said, only targets the business users consuming it. So I guess this should be clear now. Installation, no, it's not similar to EA. It's just one-time installation on servers, and you can access it just through a URL. Deployment options, this is again one of the major questions. So there are on-premise options, cloud options, which you can explore just by visiting our website. And the evaluation options, so okay, everything is well and good, and if you think, how do you really evaluate what you have shown? So you can again come to a website to see live preview, no registrations, nothing, just few clicks to really see and interact with, collaborate with the model. Or you can take your own trial if you want to explore the sharing capabilities, or if you want to go one step ahead. Okay, even the trial is fine. We want to check out with our own models. We want to really try it out. We want to really present information to see whether our business users are happy. No problem. We have a free proof of concept policy. You can even try Prolaborate with your models. And and this are the major points which we discussed in our demo, so it's not really a conclusion slide. So everybody wants to make the right information to the right audience at the right time, and to do that, the barriers to consumption on like the manual efforts to be removed, the experience of the business users to be enhanced. The whoever is sharing, so they need to use the effective sharing method so that they don't get bored with exporting documents every now and then, and the collaboration should be contextually raised so that you achieve your goal, you bring in the right people, everybody's on the same page, the decisions are taken sooner than expected. And that concludes my presentation. Let's have a quick look at the questions before we close the webinar.
Thanks, Madhav. So one question I'll answer. So Helen said, will this session be made available afterwards? So yes, it'll be made available on the Sparx Systems website and also on the Sparx Systems YouTube site, but just allow 24 hours because it'll just take some time to render the video and put it up, but we will try to do that within the next 24 hours and make that available. In your demonstration, Matt, have you showed Confluence, but there's a few people that have asked questions about things like Jira and Doors. So can Prolaborate also work with some of those tools?
Jira, yes, we have specific defined use cases, and we have seen even interest on the another product of ours, the ProCloud server, which have really good use cases to solve. But with Doors, so Prolaborate has public APIs to integrate with the apps with similar use cases. I guess maybe you can just drop in an email to our email ID or get in touch with through a demo form in our website, and we can definitely talk more, and we can even showcase these specific capabilities to you.
Excellent. There was some questions about when you make comments and add to a review, is that information stored in the enterprise architect model so that it's always available?
Okay, that's a good question. Again, I guess I missed this FAQ. It's not stored along with the models. I mean, Prolaborate needs its own database to store such information, but you can definitely have a quick look at the discussions using the add-in. And also, I mean, we have seen certain government organizations say, okay, these changes were made after a discussion. We want to record it and store it along with the auditing changes. So we have an export discussion option, and they use it to export the discussion and store it along with the changes they have made.
Excellent. So what I might do now is I'll just briefly share my screen and wrap things up. So just on the Sparx Systems website, you can see that you can access the current version of Enterprise Architect 15.1. And as Matt have mentioned, Enterprise Architect is where the modeling is done. So if you are a registered user, you can download that today. If you have a look in products, you can see information about Prolaborate, and you can click on request a demo and it will take you to this page. So if you have any questions or if you'd like a demo, you can simply email prolaborate@sparxsystems.com or select the contact us link to find out more information. Also, from the resources page, all of our webinars library is available. And so for the people that were asking where are the videos, they're all listed here. And they cover everything from the latest features for Enterprise Architect 15.1 through to use case modeling, Prolaborate demonstrations, enterprise architecture, Archimate, architecture in the digital age, code engineering, software design, and much, much more. So there's enough there to keep you busy for many, many hours, and it's all free. And I mentioned at the start, Sparx Services Organization. So if you go to the partners, Sparx Services HTML, whether you're in the UK, Central Europe, Australasia, North America, there are people that can provide you with services and can help you install Prolaborate and get up and running and provide training as required. So Madhav, thank you very much for your presentation. There's been lots of questions and people have been really engaged. It's great to see so many people online. Thank you for joining us. You'll see that the next one coming up is on cybersecurity modeling in Enterprise Architect 15.1, and there'll be a few more webinars going up in the next week. So keep checking back from time to time to see new topics and ideas. Thanks everyone for joining us tonight or today, depending where you are in the world. Thank you for your time, and thanks once again, Madhav, for your time and your excellent presentation.
Thanks a lot, Scott. Thank you, everybody. Have a good day.
No worries.
Cheers. Bye.
Bye.